How's it going? Welcome to the Delta Battle League YouTube channel. My name is Aridon, Commissioner of the DBL, and today we're here for a Week 1 weekly recap for Season 4 of the Delta Battle League. I apologize because I know this is coming out a little bit late. It's Wednesday night when this is coming out, hopefully, and I would intend for it to come out on Monday night, but this week I just did not have time to get this recorded and out for you guys, so I apologize. In the future, we'll try to have it out earlier. Monday night, like I said, is the preferred time. Since the week ends on Saturday, get it recorded on Sunday and go on Monday. Makes sense. That can't always happen, though. So just be aware that life happens, and it is what it is, and we'll try to get it out as soon as we can. So if you're new to these weekly recaps, which most of you probably are because we didn't do them a ton in the past, we're just going to fly around the spreadsheet and show you guys things that you need to know. We're not going to have any graphics or anything. We're literally just going to look at the spreadsheet and point out different things as we go along. I'll kind of pan and zoom different ways, and we'll figure it out, and it all works out pretty well. You guys will see what you need to see, and that's pretty much that. So we'll start with our scores and stats. That's the main thing we do. Then we'll move on to the standings, the league leaders, the pick'em crew, and see how they did that previous week. We'll take a look at the power rankings for the upcoming week, and then finally we'll take a look at the matchups for the upcoming week as well. So we'll start with our scores and stats for Week 1. Hop to the game stats page on the spreadsheet. Our first matchup here, we have one of our new coaches, Frosty and the Irvine Infernapes, taking on Vivi and the Liberty Vivillons. Venusaur proved to be a lot in this battle, as the Vivillons had no real response to it. You can see the mons they brought, nothing really wanted to take it on, and that proved as the Infernapes started the season with a 6-0 over the Vivillons, or the Infernapes. I think I said that, maybe I didn't. First match of the season for a 6-0, and yeah, so rough start for the Vivillons, great start for the Infernapes. First battle in the DBL, and they showed that they're here for a reason. Next matchup, we have one of the top coaches in DBL history, and Colton and the Detroit Magnetons taking on the Phoenix Sunflora, and not the result we expected to happen here, as Mega Aggron lead was a lot for the Magnetons to take on, and then the Shuckle with the tract at the end really shut down Gorbis, along with Thunderwave from one of these mons, who I don't remember exactly, but Thunderwave tracked on Gorbis. Shell Smash was not doing what it was supposed to be doing. Our next matchup here, we have the Boston Buizels and Kansas City Nidokings doing battle, a rematch of the Hacks battle from Season 2, where the Kansas City Nidokings completely hacked out the Boston Buizels. Make sure you guys check out that video if you haven't, by the way. You can find it on Dig with Dreams channel. All of the coaches' channel or Twitters, I believe, are linked in the description below. You can find their channels from there. You know what to do. Same result as last time, or pretty close to it, as the Nidokings pick up a W 2-0. Scarf Electivire was a lot for the Buizels to handle, and just not the right response to that. As we have stuff on the screen, there we go. Our next matchup here, we have my own team, the Wisconsin Dusknoir, taking on the Colorado Mamoswine. We picked up a 2-0 victory. I guess, for future reference, for when my battles are up, I'm going to do them from my point of view instead of from, like, the commissioner's point of view. Brought a really offensive team, and not a lot of defense, and it worked. We were down early on, but spikes from Klefki along with Megalopony put a lot of pressure on at the end. And the Mamoswine really had no real answer once Arcanine was gone for Megalopony. Our next matchup here is we have to fly to the other side of the screen. We have the Motor City Meganium, another one of our new coaches, taking on the Fussa Flareon. Motor City Meganium picking up a 5-0 victory. The Fussa Flareon with not the right stuff to take on Alolan Marowak, but to be fair, I don't know if there was much that can take on Alolan Marowak on the roster, since not much can in the first place in the entire competitive Pokemon scene. Our next matchup, the Aston Villampharos and Seattle Seadras. A very, very hyped up match, but unfortunately Jose and the Seattle Seadras had to forfeit mid-match. A little bit of poor timing on, not poor timing, but a lack of time on both parts, and he had to go to work, and that's just how that happens. So forfeit, at the time, the battle is at 6-6, so that means the Seattle Seadras will lose 6-0. So another 6-0 this week, not in the same essence as the Irvine Infernapes and Liberty Vivillons match was, but still a 6-0 nonetheless. Our next matchup here, we have the Jacksonville Electivires taking on the Chicago Cubchoos. The Chicago Cubchoos were in the driver's seat for most of the match, but once the Electivires had a chance to set up a Swords Dance on Mega Scizor at the end, it was downhill from there for the Chicago Cubchoos, as Mega Scizor was swept and got 4 kills, and there was no real response from the Chicago Cubchoos from that point. Our final match, we have a rematch of our Season 2 finalists, the St. Louis Fellows, taking on the Minnesota Wild Charge. This battle, it was a very even battle, as you can see, a lot of kills, a lot of deaths, and a 2-0 match that was pretty close, but at the end it came down to Jolteon being able to live a Aqua Jet from Bandit. Bandit Azumarill was a very big threat through the whole game, but at the end, Jolteon was able to hit, get that Thunderbolt off, and finish off the game. So there's our matches. We got those in pretty quickly. We'll move on to our standings. Back to the main page. We'll take a look at what we got going on here. So we'll start in the Pony Division with the Motor City Meganium and St. Louis Swellows on top. Both of them picking up wins this week. Both the Motor City Meganium on top by differential if we had to break a tie there, but it's only week 1, so it's not that big of a deal yet. We have the Boston Buizels and Detroit Magnetons, two of our, like I said, historically good teams in the bottom of that division, but this division as a whole is going to be really good this season since all of these teams have proved that they can battle really well. Everyone except the three returning coaches are all playoff coaches, and then obviously Hendo and the Motor City Meganium know what they're doing in league format. Moving on to the Melee Division, we have the Jacksonville Electivires on top by themselves at 1-0. All the other teams are 0-1. We'll see if that stays how it is. Moving on to the Ula Division, we have the Irvine Infernapes and Kansas City Nidokings on top. Irvine Infernapes on top by differential, and the Minnesota Wild Charge and Chicago Cubchoos on bottom. That looks like it'll be a very good division as well, with the Irvine Infernapes team composition and just overall play proving to be very, very impressive. And finally, with the Akala Division, we have a three-way tie at first, all separated by 2 differential points. We have the Aston Villampharos on top with that 6-0 forfeit win over the Seattle Seadras. We have the Phoenix Sunflora on top with their win over the Detroit Magnetons, and then the Wisconsin Dusknoir on top as well with the 2-0 victory over the Colorado Mamoswine. Fussa Flareon hanging out 1 game behind. I'll see if they can turn things around as the season goes along. Alright, moving on to our league leaders. We'll take a look at the stats page here. We'll take a look at some of our top mons. We have Mega Scizor, as we mentioned before, getting that nice sweep over the Chicago Cubchoos. They're 4-0. Mega Venusaur of the Irvine Infernapes is also 4-0. Little Marowak put in a lot of work against the Fussa Flareon, 3-0. Electivire, like I said before as well, put a lot of pressure against the Boston Buizels, 3-1. And Mega Lopunny as well is 3-1, picking up 3 kills, and the Wisconsin Dusknoir win over the Colorado Mamoswine. How did the Pick'em crew do this week? We'll see a lot of red. A lot of upsets happened this week. We had 3 matches where each of our 3 Pick'em crew analysts picked the same coach, and they all were incorrect, as you can see in the middle of your screen there. Mitch was the only one to pick the Aston Villampharos over the Seattle Seadras. Like I said before, though, that was a forfeit, so we don't know exactly how the battle would have gone if it continued out, but it's a win nonetheless for the Aston Villampharos, and it's going to be counted just the same as any other normal win. And you can look at the rest of your stuff there. All of our analysts are undefeated in their lock, as Ultra Player and Point Blank pick the Motor City Meganium over the Fussa Flareon as their lock, and Mitch picked the Irvine Infernapes over the Vivillons as their lock. We'll take a look at the power rankings for our upcoming week here. You can see last week's the post-draft power rankings on your left, and the week 2 power rankings on your right. Hopefully nothing's cut off really weird there. I don't know exactly how that angle is going to edit, but we can see the Irvine Infernapes remaining on top, garnering 2 first place votes. We had 1 less analyst this week, so both of the analysts picked the Irvine Infernapes as number 1 team. The Jacksonville Electivires, jumped 5 spots up to number 2. Our biggest jump this week was actually the Phoenix Sunflora, moving up 7 spots from 14 to 7. Some other big notes, the Detroit Magnetons dropped 10 spots after the loss to the Phoenix Sunflora, dropping from 2nd overall to 12th. We have the Seattle Seadras dropping 8 spots. Granted, that was a forfeit, like we said, but the analysts took it as a loss, and a loss it is, and it's fair to judge as so. St. Louis Swellows moving up 6 spots. You guys can take a look at that yourself. I don't have to go over everything you see. There's our power rankings. We'll see if the Irvine Infernapes can remain on top after next week, and we'll see if the Jacksonville Electivires can hold on to that number 2 spot, possibly even pass up the Irvine Infernapes for the number 1 spot. And finally, taking a look at our matchups next week, we have the Chicago Cubchoos taking on the Aston Villampharos for our match of the week. We'll see how that battle goes. Traveling all the way over to Birmingham, somewhere in England. If we're taking a look at the home and away, which doesn't really matter, but we just have it there for fun. The Boston Buizels taking on the Colorado Mamoswine. Eric and Matt is always a good battle. We have the St. Louis Swellows taking on the Jacksonville Electivires. Liberty Vivillons traveling up to Detroit to take on the Magnetons. The Irvine Infernapes travel all the way to Japan to see if they can keep their streak alive and see if they can keep their differential high against the Fussa Flareon. The Kansas City Nidokings take on a close friend. Actually, I think Jad is Lauderdale's cousin, so that's a pretty close matchup there. The Motor City Meganium take on the Seattle Seadras, and finally, the Wisconsin Dusknoir travel up to Duluth to take on the Minnesota Wild Charge. So we'll see how our analysts pick those battles, we'll see how the power rankings go next week, and ultimately we'll see how our results come in as the week progresses. Like I said again, this one is really late, this video, but hopefully next week's will be out on Monday after the week ends. We got lucky this week because none of our battles actually went over the time limit for our battles. If anything like that happens in the future where we have to upload this without a battle being completed, we'll just do with what we have and make that work. So other than that, thank you for watching. Check out all of our coaches down in the description below. Check back next week for the Week 2 weekly recap. And other than that, thanks for watching, and goodbye.